Hi scholars, I wanted to go over some questions on your Module 5 review for your test tomorrow. So I'm going to go over number 2. It's on page 7. It says Pete is starting a fitness program which includes running and walking. One afternoon he walked 1/4 of a mile and ran for 3/8 of a mile, which is the best estimate of the fractional part of a mile that he traveled altogether. So altogether, you're putting it together. So I'm going to just use this space down here to kind of show. So I'm going to do my benchmark fractions. So I know 1/2 is over here, I know 1/4 is here, and I know 3/4 is here. So obviously 1/4 is right over here, which is in the question. And then 3/8. So if I think of this as 0/8 and this is 8/8 and this is 4/8, 3/8 is a little bit less than that, so that's kind of where it is. So you have 3/8 and 1/4. 3/8 plus 1/4. So you have this much plus this much. So think about like I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it here. So you end up about here because you're taking this much and this much. So what I did was I knew this was like 3/8, so then I took 1/4 and I just kind of put it next to the 3/8. So I kind of end up over here between 1/2 and 3/4. So let's look at our answer choices. Greater than 0, yes, but less than 3/8. That can't be true because they're saying, you know, you end up somewhere here, but we're over here. Greater than 3/8, that's true, but less than 1/2. Well, here's your halfway point, and we're past it, so that can't be it. Greater than 1/2, that's true, but less than 3/4. That seems pretty accurate. Greater than 3/4, that means somewhere here, but less than 1. So I would go with H as my answer. Number 3, which of the following has a sum less than 1 whole? So you might want to do your benchmark fractions. Okay, so here's your 0, there's your 1, there's your 1/2. All right, 9/10. Well, if this is 10/10, 9/10 is about here, and then plus 3/4. Well, just thinking about that, I know I'm going to go past 1 whole. If this is close to 1 whole, and I'm adding 3/4, which is, you know, a large chunk of a whole, I'm going over it, and I want less than 1. So that can't be it. 11/12 plus 5/8. Well, that's another example where, you know, if this is 12/12, 11/12 is right here, and if I'm adding another 5/8, I'm going way past over. 2/5 and 3/7. Okay, so 0 and 1. Here's 1/2. So think about sevenths. This is 0/7. This is 7/7. Now, you can't cut a 7 in half with an even number, but I know that 3/7 is here and 4/7 is here. So 3/7 is less than half, and then if I'm adding another 2/5, which I know this is getting kind of messy, but if you think about fifths, here's the 2/5 mark, right about here. So that's also less than like the halfway point. So this is less than half. This is also less than half. I know I'm going to stay under 1 whole. Because to actually go over 1 whole, you have to have half and a little bit more than half. So if this is less than half and this is less than half, that's got to be staying, that's got to stay under 1 whole then. All right, let's look at number 4. Sherelle purchased a package containing 1 3/8 pounds of ground meat. She used 9/10 pound of the meat to make hamburgers. Which is the reasonable estimate of the weight of the remaining ground meat? So this is subtraction, remaining. This is what she starts with. This is how much she's using. And so we want to know what's left. So I would draw 2 number lines. Okay, I would show 1 3/8. So actually, in order to do this, okay, I'm actually going to, nope, that's not a good idea. Well, okay. 0, 1, and 2. I'm making this harder for myself than I should be. 0, 1 whole, 2 whole. Okay, so 1 and 3/8. So here's your halfway point. Okay, so then that means this is 1 and 1/2. Okay. All right, so let's just focus on finding 1 and 3/8 here. So here's 1 whole, 3/8. Well, I know this is 1/4, 1 and 1/4. I know this is 1 and 3/4. So 1 and 3/8. If you think about like back over here, we did 3/8 is less than a half, right? So here's your half. 3/8, 1 and 3/8 would be right around here. Okay, because that's 1 and 1/4, that's 1 and 1/2, so 1 and 3/8. So she used 9/10 of the meat to make hamburgers. So 9/10, if, now I'm on the second number line now. I know it's kind of hard to see, but that's why I wrote in marker. If this is 0 and this is 1 whole, this is 0/10, this is 10/10, okay? 9/10 is right about here. 9/10 is about 1 whole. Okay, so if you have 1 and 3/8, which is right here, and you have used up almost 1 whole, this is how much is remaining. Okay, so definitely there's a good amount, so it can't be 0 pounds, right? And it's not 1.5, because if it was 1.5, it would be about the length of this whole thing. Okay, and then I don't think it's 1 either, because because you practically she practically used up 1 whole, and so whatever's remaining can't be another 1 whole, so that can't be it either. So it's about 1/2 pound. So see, these are kind of hard. You have to really work it out, draw number lines to help. Okay. Helen had 2 small cheese pizzas. Helen gave her brother 7/8 of one pizza, and she ate all the remaining pizza. Which is the closest to show how much pizza Helen ate. So I'm going to draw a number line. So 0, 1, 2. Here's the 2 pizzas. Okay, she gave her brother 7/8 of one pizza. The rest is what she got. What did she get? So let's just focus on 7/8, putting 7/8 on here. So if this is 0/8, this is 8/8, that has to be 4/8, 7/8 is right around here, okay? Right around there. So that's how much she gave to her brother. She got this much. As you can see, she got 1 whole and a little bit more, okay? So it can't be these. These are less than 1 whole. And then I know she got more than 1, so that's not it either. It's got to be D. That's the best answer. She didn't get exactly 1.5, but that's the best answer. All right, number 6. Darla's family went on vacation to Yellowstone Park. On day 1, they drove 1/4 the total distance. On day 2, they drove an additional 1/5 the total distance, which shows how far they have left to travel to Yellowstone Park. So if this is the traveling amount, okay, 1 whole, they drove 1/4 and then 1/5, they want to know what's left. So here's my halfway point, here's my 1/4, here's my 3/4, okay? This is how much they drove the first day. Second day, they drove 1/5. Now, if you remember, you know, as you increase the bottom number, each piece is getting smaller. So I know 1/5 is a smaller piece than 1/4. So like if this is 1/4, 1/5 is probably right around there. Okay? So like it's just about fingertip length. Okay? That's about 1/5. And so how much is left? Well, from here to here, that's half. Okay, and then a little bit more than half. So, less than 1/4 the total distance. Well, no. Because I already know they have one half, more than one half to drive. More than 3/4, that's not possible. Close to half the total distance, well, they drove more than that. So exactly 3/4 is probably the best answer.